Florida State has a big recruiting weekend starting today with several high school and transfer prospects coming to town. Can the Noles add to their 2023 class or pick up a transfer this weekend? We'll break down all the action here. Hey guys, thanks for coming to the channel. Thanks for watching this video and thanks for all the support. Quick shout out to The Gramco, our sponsors for today's video. What is Gramco? You've heard me mention it a couple of times. They're leaders in Delta 8 products. They're FSU grads and alums, and they've got a deal for you. 25% off if you use code TJ25 at checkout. That's TJ, the number's 25 at checkout. Go to thegramco.com and get you some gummies today. The link is in the description. Florida State has several guys visiting this weekend. As we get started, I'll tell you right now, this is not an exhaustive list. I'm going to highlight a few key guys that I think the Noles are in a really good spot for. One that I think they need to really make a good impression on to get in a better spot for. But if you really are looking for extensive and great coverage, this is not a paid ad. Go to Noles247.com. Those guys are my buddies. They do a fantastic job. And they can kind of fill in some gaps or some blanks that maybe I'm not hitting on exactly. First up, he was on the thumbnail. He might be the reason you clicked on the video, but Jaheim Bell. Big shout out to Noles 247's Brendan Sonnone, who was the first to report that Bell would be visiting Tallahassee this weekend. Jaheim is a tight end out of Valdosta, Georgia, not too far from Tallahassee, 90 minutes or so, transferring from South Carolina. He's a super talented kid and fits a major position of need for the Noles. They really haven't had a dominant tight end since Nick O'Leary back in 2013 and 2014 was wearing the garnet and gold. Bell is rated as the number 9 overall transfer product by On3, and he's number 4 on 247 Sports. The insider Hale McGranahan of the Big Spur, South Carolina's team site, placed a crystal ball projection for Bell to the Noles. And this one could be wrapped up this weekend. I think that FSU is in a great spot here. Getting his first visit, which we'll talk about why the urgency exists a little bit later in the video, but getting his first visit, getting him on campus just days after he entered the portal, means FSU's in a fantastic spot and probably in the driver's seat on this one. Another tight end that's visiting this weekend is Kyle Morlock. Love the idea that you've got 2 elite tight ends visiting at the same time. He visited FSU for the UF game, and he's coming back this weekend. FSU hasn't stacked their tight end room in some time, but getting both Bell and Morlock, no hyperbole, would be nuts. Morlock is a 6'7", 250-pound prospect. He's from Blairsville, Georgia, North Georgia in the mountains. I was actually just up there a few weeks ago in that area. Didn't run into him, didn't see him, but great area. Love that spot. But back to this. He's the 14th best transfer product, according to 247 Sports. Getting him back on campus again so soon after he visited for the UF game, which was obviously a ton of fun. We were out there. We had a great time. And the Noles won in dramatic fashion. But getting him back so quickly is really a good sign for FSU. Could the Noles get both tight end prospects? I'll tell you, it would add a completely different dynamic to a Mike Norvell offense that was already super elite. I don't know where the Noles stand specifically. I think they're in a good spot with this one, getting him back on campus so quick. I kind of like FSU to pick up this commit as well. Not saying it'll be this weekend, but again, I think they're in the driver's seat getting him back on campus for the first visit after he was able to enter into the portal. Let's flip to high school for just a second. Ruben Bain is visiting this weekend, and he's a 4-star defensive lineman out of Miami Central High School. This seems to be an FSU-Miami battle. Andrew Ivins has reported on this and said that he would be visiting this weekend, and I think that's good and bad. It's good news for FSU that he's visiting FSU right before he announces next week. It's his last visit before he announces. The bad news of that, he's visiting Miami immediately after he announces. I feel like the Canes are in the driver's seat here. The chance of him announcing for FSU and then visiting Miami seem pretty slim. The only real chance I see for FSU is if they could convince him to not take that Miami visit after his announcement. I think that'd be awkward if he was to take that visit. So I think it's just lining up like it's going to be a Miami commitment. Being in Miami, I don't even know how realistic it is that the folks in Tallahassee could keep him from visiting Miami that weekend. So FSU needs to do a really good job with this one. They need to make a heck of an impression. NIL probably comes pretty hard into play on this. If they can keep him from taking that last visit after he announces, I think the Noles have a shot here. But I think that this is probably a Miami lean. But we've seen crazier things happen, and if the Noles can work a little magic, he would be a huge pickup for the 2023 class. Another high school prospect, and then we'll go back to the transfers, is Kamren Robinson. He's a linebacker from Virginia that's currently committed to UVA. He announced via social media that he'd be visiting this weekend, and the four-star prospect is somebody the Noles are targeting hard to add to their class, which already has two linebackers in it, in Ward and Nicholson. We'll see how hard the Seminoles push for his commitment. He's already officially visited both UVA and Virginia Tech, so it's not like he's going to be one of those officially next weekend, though he could unofficially visit, of course. Can Mike Norvell flip him? We'll see, but this is a big one down the stretch for the Noles. If they can get the four-star committed to their class, certainly improves their transfer rankings, and it really sets up that linebacker room to have some pretty good success after guys like Kalen and Tatum and DJ move on from the program. Obviously, Kalen and Tatum announcing this week that they would be returning for one final season with the Noles. You're going to need some depth once those guys move on. This would be a big one for the future. Going back to the transfers for just a minute, and this is the last one I'll look at today, I want to take a look at Jeremiah Byers. He's a transfer from UTEP that announced again via social media with a graphic that he would be visiting FSU this weekend. He's a big guy, 6'6", OT, just a shade under 300 pounds. On3 has him listed as their sixth highest rated transfer prospect. Florida State's looking to bolster an offensive line and improve a unit that was probably the best since 2013. Byers would come in and immediately help an O-line that is losing both Dylan Gibbons and Dimitri Emmanuel. Alex Atkins has had a great track record with bringing in transfers as well as high school prospects and letting them shine at FSU. Gibbons, Turntine, Emmanuel, Lyles, Harris have all joined the Noles over the last couple of years. Can Atkins add another highly coveted impact transfer? This one would be huge for the Noles. If they can pick him up, I like Florida State's offensive line to take even another step forward next year. I believe that some of these transfers could move fairly quickly. Now, Bain, who we mentioned in the high school ranks, Robinson, I don't know that you see any movement from them this weekend. But I believe that some of these transfers may move quicker than others because Florida State's somewhat of a transfer destination, if that's fair. Just look at what they've done. And we've listed these guys a million times, but it just cannot be understated. Guys like Jamie Robinson and Jared Verse and Fabian Lovett and Kier Thomas and Jermaine Johnson and Trey Benson and Johnny Wilson and Micah Pittman, the entire offensive line that we just listed, Jordan Travis even, who committed to the previous staff. But what they've done with transfers has been remarkable. Guys want to get here. And though I know that high school recruiting has to be the end-all, be-all, it has to be where Florida State butters its bread, guys that are transferring want to get here and want to get developed by this staff. The staff has missed on some transfer guys, but not many. There haven't been many transfers that haven't worked out here. And recruits, prospects, they take notice of that. And they say, I want to go there and play there. They also may move fairly quickly on some of this stuff because they know that Florida State only has so many spots. This isn't the 2020 and 2021 recruiting cycle or transfer cycle where Florida State was going to take 1 billion guys. They're taking like 6 to 8 to 9 maybe guys, and they've got to be able to get in before those spots get filled and the staff's interest moves on. Florida State's track record puts them in an elite position to be able to have kids nearly begging to get an opportunity to play for the Seminoles. Look how many highly ranked transfers that we've talked about already in this video are using their very first visit that they are allowed to use in a 45-day window to see the Seminoles. Will it pay off with announcements this weekend? That's what we'll have to see and wait on to find out. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. There's more guys visiting like Edwin Joseph and Devontae Brown and other potentials as well. But to me, these were the ones we wanted to focus on and highlight today. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to know who you think will commit to FSU next. Maybe that's a fun one. Let's try in the comments which prospect, transfer, or high school do you think picks the Seminoles next? Let's talk about it down below. Let me know your thoughts on who joins the class, and also make sure you're subscribed to the channel as well. We've got more exciting news coming for the Seminoles as far as commits and transfers and guys returning that you do not want to miss. Smash subscribe, and we'll talk to you guys all soon. Until next time, go Noles.